So, this is not technically a Vancouver versus LA post-game video. You can say it is because the commentary topic builds off of what we had seen in that hockey game. You can say that there are just a number of small events that we can dive into to really analyze the story of that game. But at the end of the day, the Vancouver Canucks lost 2-1 in overtime, and I have a very simple question for all of you. Is this still fun? Is it fun to watch this team and hope for this team and expect positive results out of this team? Not even to say that today's game, or yesterday's game, I guess, I'm recording this video at 1:53 a.m., a few hours after the game ended, but not even to say that the game of LA versus Vancouver was even that boring per se. But is it fun to watch this team? To see the overtime, where Vancouver just absolutely could not handle a puck. To see the LA Kings go out there and outchance Vancouver by a pretty significant margin. To watch Corey Perry and Kempe and Laferriere go out there and do their thing. To see Evander Kane be the only converting opportunity for the Canucks on a breakaway, and only to see them lose in OT, all while having Quinn Hughes display the absolute worst defensive showcase on the team in terms of the Hockey Stats Cards game score breakdown. Yeah, that's right. Quinn Hughes was the worst player on Vancouver in today's matchup against the LA Kings, which is ridiculous when you think about it. He's the straw that stirs the drink. He is the gear that turns the cogs. He is the heart and soul of this team. And it even looks like he's kind of given up. So I say this here. For Vancouver Canucks fans who are watching this and choosing to watch this over the Whitecaps, for example. Hey, would you look at that? A Vancouver team is in the gosh darn finals. Messi, we are coming for you, baby. But thinking about the Vancouver Canucks, my question is this still fun? Because honestly, this season, it just doesn't really feel fun anymore. And that's come across in many ways in this market. And I just wanted to share some of my perception on that with you here. So, obviously, it's one thing if I'm just going out there and saying, oh yeah, Vancouver hockey, this and that, it sucks, they're not good, they're one of the worst teams, they're near the bottom of the standings, etc., etc. But it's another thing to go out there and try to analyze what the fans' perceptions are. You know, there was a really interesting quote by Michael Bublé earlier in the media this month, talking about how some folks in the media want to see the Canucks do poorly. Now, I don't know if he's necessarily talking about me. I doubt he is. I don't think Michael Bublé probably explores the YouTube niche sphere deep enough to find Vancouver Canucks-related commentary videos like my own. But the idea that some folks that talk about this team for a living, which is exactly what I do here, this is my full-time job, want this team to do poorly is absolutely bollocks. Because I'll say this right here. It's the same sentiment that was shared by Blake Price on social media. It's the same sentiment that was talked about on 650 almost every time it gets brought up. But when the Vancouver Canucks are good, everybody wins. Not just the team on the ice. Oh no. Them literally getting into the dub column more does not necessarily just mean that they win. It means that everybody in this city wins. Everybody that makes content about them. Everybody that broadcasts opinions, commentary, and otherwise about them. Everybody gets more traction. Everybody gets more engagement. Everybody who is just a regular fan who consumes this content and doesn't make any videos or broadcasts or whatever, y'all eat this up. When the Vancouver Canucks are doing well, the views, they're high. The Spotify downloads, they're going through the roof. The Sportsnet 650 listeners are going through the roof. That is what this hockey-crazed market can do when the Vancouver Canucks actually give us a product that's worth being proud of. And this season has been one of absolute disappointment from all aspects. Player acquisition, health management, on-ice performance. There have been so many disappointments with the Vancouver Canucks that when you take a step back and you look at what they were supposed to be heading into the season, what? With Evander Kane, Filipino, Thatcher Demko, and all these other pieces, the common consensus was that this Vancouver Canucks team needed everything to go right in order for them to make the playoffs and to be competitive. And then what? They weren't projected to being a top-tier Stanley Cup caliber championship contention team. They were never going to be that with Filipino as a second-line C. They needed to get a center, and they couldn't. Blame the market, blame the lack of actual available trade options, blame the extra salary dollars that teams were able to get, which prevented any kinds of those centers to being available on the market. You can blame anything, but at the end of the day, it just didn't work. The team needed to be fully healthy and fully playing to their potential to just be a bubble playoff team, to be a wildcard team. Maybe 2 seasons ago, you could say that Vancouver Canucks squad with Miller and Petey and Hughes and Ian Cole and Nikita Zadorov and a healthy Demko, you could have said that team was Stanley Cup championship contender material. They were 1 game away from making the Final Four. It was there. They had that talent. But unfortunately, injury struck at the end. No Demko, no Besser. They got eliminated in 7 by the Oilers, and the rest was history. It was so fun in that 2024 season. The YouTube views were coming in like crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hide it. Spare the job at McDonald's and spare the day trading, 2024 was the best calendar year that I personally had ever had financially, and it was primarily because the Vancouver Canucks were so damn good that everybody was popping and buzzing for the videos. And that, of course, extended into a bigger algorithm, which allowed even the Oilers videos that we made to pop off, and the draft was super exciting in 2024 too. But that 2024 season was so good. And don't get me wrong, I brought up money, I brought up the financial aspect of it, but that's not the main soul of what this commentary topic is about. I'm just using that to reference how much more engagement there was with this team, the videos that we made about it, and just the city as a whole. How overwhelming it was, but how cool it was to cheer for the Vancouver Canucks in 2024. And now it's 2025, almost 2026, and this team is nowhere near as talented skill-wise. They're nowhere near in as positive of a path as they had seemed to have been in that season. And now things are falling apart. When the Canucks got eliminated in 2024, it was like, okay, once everybody comes back, they can replicate the success that they had. They still got the core pieces. They still got Miller, they still got Hughes, they still got Petey. They might lose Zadorov and Lindholm, but they're still going to be fine. And then they weren't. And then 1 season later, the team looks like this. Filipino is out. Atu Ratu is a top center. So is David Kampf. And the team is looking so directionless with how they can't seem to commit to getting younger. They can't seem to fully make these trades to get younger. But I think whether or not you're viewing it from a perspective of on-ice product or long-term projectability, either you're thinking about the now or you're thinking about the future, at the end of the day, it's just not fun anymore. I don't know, like, the quality of the hockey is so bad under this coaching staff. Maybe this is why Adam Foote was so bad in the dub, man. I don't know, I just don't really believe it anymore. And we did go through some pretty rough years with Vancouver Canucks hockey. In the 2014, 15-ish era, those 2018 teams were not great. And so we know what it's like to watch a bad Canucks team. It's just now, because it's so obvious that the team actually had aspirations to be so much better than this, that's what makes it a lot more difficult to accept and live with. But at the end of the day, it's just sports. And there are always going to be other sports to watch. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Canucks and Kings game, and whether or not you think it's fun to still be a part of this story that the Vancouver Canucks are writing for themselves. It's not a story out of apathy. It's one out of love. But it's one that just doesn't feel fun anymore. At least in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.